Hey everyone! Today we're going to be creating 3 high-end Dollar Tree DIYs. Let's get right into it. For the first DIY, you'll need a closed dome from Dollar Tree, along with some gold leaf foil. Now I got this from a garage sale, believe it or not. You can pick it up at craft stores. I have even seen it at Dollar Tree. You're also going to need some foil glue. Now I am going to use the Renaissance brand. Some people have used Mod Podge, but I prefer the actual foil glue. And you're going to need a foam brush or a bristle brush. Now remove the closed dome and we are going to add the adhesive to the base. Now I'm using a foam brush, as you can see, and I am stippling it on. I am wanting to create a vintage look to my piece. Now, depending on the type of brush you're using will depend on the finished look that you will achieve. If you want a really nice smooth texture, then I definitely recommend a smooth bristle brush. I am, as you can see, using the stippling effect, and it is creating some air bubbles, but I'm okay with that. So just experiment and play. So you want it to dry until it's tacky to the touch. And then you are going to gently apply the foil. Now, as you can see, this foil is very, very fragile. So just be careful how you apply it. Here I am using a little paintbrush so I can get the foil into the corners, as you can see here. And then I'm smoothing it on as well using the paintbrush. I'd like to take a moment and welcome you all to CreArtive by Nature, DIY and Decor. My name is Donna. If you're into an eclectic mix of decor like I am, then I would love for you to join my community by tapping on that subscribe button along with the bell to keep up to date with everything I have to share. So as you can see, I left the center portion of this empty. I didn't need the foil there. And using a soft cloth, you are now going to burnish it. This is going to really help the foil to stick to the glue, as well as remove any of the excess and smooth out the finish. And as you can see, it has a really, really cool vintage look. So I wanted to seal this off, and I'm going to be applying this satin varnish by DecoArt, and I'm just going to be using a soft paintbrush. This part is optional. I just wanted to make sure that this was going to stick well to the plastic. Set it aside and allow the varnish to dry well. Once dry, we can now start to decorate. So I went and forged these little branches from a wok, and I'm just finding one that's going to fit the cloche. Trim it down as needed. And then using some hot glue, you are going to generously apply some in the middle of the base. And then you're going to put your stick in, and then you're going to hold it there and allow it to set. It's going to take a little bit to set. Once the branch is set up in the glue, I'm just going in and adding just a little bit extra. I don't want my branch to move. Again, you're going to let it set up again. Just hold it into place and it won't fall over. Just making sure the dome will fit over my branch. Now, using some preserved reindeer moss, I'm going to cover up where all the black is by using some hot glue. I am going to apply that to the base and press the moss into place. Now, I'm being careful not to apply the moss right up to the edge, as I do need some room to put the dome cover back into place. So now I'm just making sure that my dome does fit and I don't need to trim anything off. And it does. I love it. It looks so pretty so far. Now using these paper butterflies. Now Dollar Tree did have these last year, and I have seen them in other dollar stores as well, so have a look around. I'm going to be using a total of 6, and I'm gluing liked ones together. Then it doesn't look like that there's a plain backside. You're going to be seeing these butterflies from both directions, so I just wanted to make sure it looks finished on both sides. And I'm going to attach them all together to create a total of 3 butterflies. Now I'm just figuring out my placement here, and then using some hot glue, I am going to attach my butterflies to the branch. So I wanted this to be usable from different directions, so I'm just going to add a butterfly to the opposite side of that large one and then add the little one at the top. Once you have your butterflies in place, you can then add the dome back in place, and there you have a gorgeous high-end looking piece. I have seen stuff like this in high-end home decor stores. This was all on a really tight budget, using Dollar Tree finds. So our next DIY is going to be using this bowl from Dollar Tree. And again, I'm going to be using the Renaissance adhesive foil glue. Using my foam brush, I'm going to dab it on as I'm going to be creating that vintage look again. But this time I'm only going partway up the bowl, and I am creating a really rough and jagged edge in the middle of the bowl. I didn't want there to be a perfect line. Once I have the foil in place, you'll see what I mean. But just continue at it and then allow it to dry till tacky, and then you can apply your foil. It did take about 2 sheets to cover this particular bowl. And I didn't bother using a paintbrush to apply the foil this time. You could if you want, but I just dabbed it on with my hand. I didn't have any nooks and crevices to apply the foil, so I felt that just using my hand worked. So once you have the foil in place, you can then use your soft rag and start to burnish. Now, as you can see here, we have a really nice and jagged edge. We don't have that clean edge. That was the look I was going for by using the foam brush the way I did. I really, really like how this is turning out. Again, I had seen something similar to this on a high-end decor store site, and I just fell in love with it, and I knew I could do it on a budget. So again, using the varnish, I'm going to seal off the foil. I'm just being careful not to get it right onto the bare glass. While the bowl is drying, I am going to now use this square platform as well as these square blocks. And you will also need some stain. I'm using a walnut stain. But first I need to measure out where I want to place the little wood block. So I'm going 1 centimeter in on each side in the corner. And then I'm going to be applying the little wood blocks. And that way here I know that I've got them all evenly placed on the underside of this platform. So using some hot glue, I am placing the little wood blocks as shown here. So here's all 4 in place, all ready to go. Now I'm going to be using my walnut stain from CreArtive. I'm applying the stain using a paintbrush and then using a rag to wipe off the excess. I am going to cover the entire platform using the stain. Once everything is dry, you can then place your bowl on the platform, insert a beautiful LED light, and here you got a gorgeous high-end decor piece. I love how this looks. I love the jagged rustic edge, and the candle in there gives us such a beautiful glow. So for our next DIY, you're going to need a set of 3 clay pots from Dollar Tree and some craft paints in your desired color. I'm going with smoke, warm white, and lush foliage. You'll be giving your clay pots 2 to 3 coats of your craft paint. It really depends on your craft paint how many coats you'll need. Don't forget to do the inside ridge of your clay pots as it might show for your end project. And if you're going to be using some soil inside these little pots, I highly recommend sealing them off with a clear sealer on the inside so the water doesn't soak through and wreck your paint. So I'm going to be using the Renaissance adhesive foil glue again, and I'm just going to be using a soft bristle brush and applying it to the rim of our pots. Now, this will give a really nice smooth finish. You might see the brush strokes a little bit, but it's not bad. Just the softer the brush, the better the finish will be. I'm also going to add the glue just to the edge rim of our pots and then allow it to dry. Once dry, you can then add your foil, and you're going to see the difference in the finish using the soft bristle brush here in a moment once we burnish. So just apply the gold foil, and then using your soft cloth, you can then again burnish to remove the excess and create that nice smooth finish. You can really see the difference here. You don't see that bubbling and that rough texture like before. So now, using this old floral foam that I had in my stash, I like to reuse it when I can. I'm adding some square chunks to each little pot. Then, using some cream pebbles that I picked up from Dollar Tree, I am dumping some in on the top, smoothing them out. And then using these gorgeous new succulents from Dollar Tree. I love Dollar Tree succulents. They're just one of my favorite things to buy. I removed the stem and then cut off the wire and put them inside the pots. So I'm creating another platform, and I'm going to be using this rectangular plank that I picked up from Dollar Tree. And again, same procedure. I'm just measuring out where to put the little square blocks to create the feet on the bottom of our little platform. And using hot glue, I am going to adhere each foot to the bottom of our plank. Then, using the gel stain in walnut, I'm going to again cover the plank up, and using the paintbrush, use a soft rag to remove the excess. So I wanted to distress this plank, so I'm using a sanding block, and I am going to just distress the edges and use a cloth to remove any of the dust. I continue to do this until I get the distressed look that I like. So I find that applying some varnish really helps the distressing to pop a little more, as well as help that wood grain to show well. So I'm going to give it a coat of the varnish, allow it to dry well, and then you are going to add the little pots. I'm making sure that I'm putting the little green pot in the middle, as that's the colorful one. And here you have another gorgeous high-end looking project using some finds from Dollar Tree. It's very, very budget friendly and a definite showstopper. As always, I would absolutely love to know which project was your favorite. I want to thank you all so much for being here today, and click on the following videos for more inspiration. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.